When does an object stop being a thing and start becoming art? Is it the paint, the canvas, the bronze, or simply the belief we give it? The air is still, thick with the silence of centuries. We stand before a canvas, and our conversation with it is quiet, personal, almost sacred. A glance at a line, a shade of blue, a texture of a surface, and we feel a resonance, a sense of joy, or perhaps a profound sadness. It is here, in this solitary moment, that art feels most alive. Yet in the glittering frantic halls of the global art market, that quiet conversation is forgotten. Here, the philosophical questions of beauty and meaning are replaced by a single defining question. What is it worth? This is a journey into a paradox. We begin with the quiet poetry of human emotion and then descend into the cold, calculated logic of the marketplace, where million-dollar price tags are not just a measure of value, but a creator of it. The human desire for art begins in the most intimate of places. It is deeply personal, almost primal. For some, a piece of art is a window into their own emotions, a connection to nostalgia or serenity. For others, it is self-expression, a way to shape a space that feels truly their own. Science has shown that looking at a beautiful piece of art can increase blood flow to the brain by 10%. The same effect as looking at someone you love. This private desire for beauty is the emotional bedrock upon which the art market is built. But rarely does it remain private. What happens when a profound desire for beauty becomes a public declaration of status? What if the most powerful force in art is not love, but the fear of missing out? Economists call it the Veblen effect, a paradox where demand for a luxury item actually increases as its price rises. A high price tag becomes proof of exclusivity. Only the wealthiest may enter. The market knows beauty gets us in the door, but it is status and the display of power that sends prices into the stratosphere. Yet this socially constructed value is fragile. It rests on a single universal agreement, belief in a work's history. This is the problem of authenticity. As philosopher Nelson Goodman argued, a forgery isn't just a copy. It is an object falsely claiming a past. That is why a perfect, indistinguishable replica becomes worthless once exposed. Its value was never in the paint, but in the fragile belief in its story. And nowhere is this more visible than in the auction house. The auction is a psychological battleground. The auctioneer, a master manipulator of human emotion, a low starting bid anchors the mind. The fear of missing out fuels frantic decisions, and the primal need to win drives prices beyond reason. The final number is not the market's logic, but the climax of a performance. Consider Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, believed lost for centuries, resurfacing with disputed provenance, contested attribution, and yet none of this mattered. In 2017, it sold for $450 million, not because of proof, but because of belief, because of the story of a lost masterpiece. Here we meet Jean Baudrillard's concept of hyper-reality. The idea of the lost Da Vinci became more valuable than the object itself. The story, not the art, was the commodity. Now compare it to Jeff Koons' rabbit, a mirror-like simulacrum of nothing real. Empty, flawless, reflective. One edition sold for $91 million, a record for a living artist. Its value lies not in history or beauty, but in its very emptiness. A pure signifier of wealth and status. The perfect embodiment of the market's darkest psychology. The journey of an object from an artist's hands to a billion-dollar auction tells us as much about ourselves as it does about art. The market's value is not intrinsic. It is a monument to our desires for beauty, for power, for status, for victory. So when we look at a work of art, perhaps we should look past the surface, beyond its beauty, beyond its history, and ask instead, what does the price tag say about us? What does our desire to own, to win, to collect reveal about our search for meaning in a world of shifting values? Perhaps art is not what we see on the wall, but the silence it leaves behind in us, long after we have walked away.